All right, let's see. All right, we are live.
Recording
So,
started. I see it. Yeah.
yes. So, hi, my name is Tori Chrisman. I'm known as ToryMagoo44 on the internet and TikTok. And tonight, my guest is Drew Margolis. I was in Scientology for 30 years, woke up in 2000 and escaped out. I met Drew in 2008, and he's going to tell you how we met. So,
We
hello and welcome, Drew.
Hi, I'm Drew. I'm known as Drew. Uh yeah, we met in 2008 at the we picketed together, and it was kind of traditional after the pickets to go to restaurants. So we met at the, obviously picketing, but we went to the restaurants a lot, and then, we talked that way. Tori always has an interesting story. Tori kind of got me into, like, it's interested in Scientology because it's all over Hollywood. And I worked in Hollywood, and Scientology is creepier than anything that you normally bump into. It's uh, really we, like the big. It's big blue with this emaciated bicycle guards that roam around and ask you what you're doing. It's just they're a really paranoid cult, and that whenever it's just kind of out of an ordinary thing. Everything else kind of makes sense in LA except Scientology until you learn about it. But I saw your video, your talk at CFI, the Skeptics Talk, and that was
And explain what CFI is.
yeah, Center for Inquiry. So you did a whole talk, and you put I think did you put the dollar sign glasses on at the time? I forget.
I may have. I
Yeah,
may have.
yeah, but you have what it takes, and that got that kind of told me kind of like a little bit of the inside of Scientology. So in 2008, and the pickets broke out, and the more you learning about Scientology, you can go into a deep rabbit hole of learning, and the more you learn, the more crazy it is. It's just
True.
just nuts. And when the anonymous pickets broke out, I joined the pickets, and then the insanity of what Scientology did caused everyone anonymous to continue picketing, where they probably would be gone in and out in a month or two. But they kept screwing with everybody. So
Right.
we picketed forever. And I never really stopped. Well, there's lulls in pickets, but we picketed, pretty routine for all these years. But our first project we did together was you wanted to do the old Scientology
I
stuff.
wanted to show you the old Scientology buildings,
Right.
because everyone now sees the Hollywood buildings.
Right.
But it originally started on Temple Street. That's where I started, on Temple Street at Asho. And then Celebrity Center was down on 8th Street. And some of the buildings we couldn't even find. Remember that? They were gone.
Right. And then some of the buildings, I think the original Celebrity Center, if I'm not mistaken, is like a produce market. It was really run
It's a
down.
fruit stand. Yeah.
And then the one of the apartment buildings which a lot of people lived at. The guy with the guitar and whatnot. They just other things that we drove around, and we were able to. We took it on a video camera. I think the reason you also wanted to do something outside of just you talking to a web camera. You want to do one edited video, and we did. We went around, and then we edited it on your computer, and we put it on the internet, so it's still on your.
Well, I didn't want it edited. I don't know how to edit.
Well, no,
You wanted to edit it. Yeah.
right.
I just wanted to film things, and then
Right.
you knew how to edit. So we came back and you edited.
Right, and all the I think Windows XP at the time came with a real basic editing software, and that's the old days, man. That was old.
It was the old days. It was really the old days.
Let me, because we did it on tape,
Yeah.
and then loaded into the computer, edited it, put it out. No live streaming,
Right.
And then it just picked up from there, and
And back then, I will say, and you know this because you and I used to do it, they used to come out and they had what are called handlers. When I was in Scientology, was at one of the original handlers, where they asked me to go out and try to basically get the critics to go away. Now, I had some good success with it, but a lot of the people were really knuckleheads on it. And I'm
Ew.
not saying I was smart. It was just I did common sense things, which was like, look, what are you doing here? What's going on? And
Right.
sometimes they'd stay, but a lot of times they'd go.
Right. And that's, you're natural. You talk to people, you
Right.
want to know their deal. What's your deal, man? And
Yeah.
yeah, and you've been like that, from what you told me most of your life. You've always been,
Yeah.
willing to, get, hello, yeah, and but yeah, we've had some wild ones, man. We had some wild handlers that really miss them because they were very entertaining, and they
They
always
were.
made for good footage, like Patty Baber, Tim, Frumpy Guy, Dan
Yeah.
Mernan.
There were a
Uh,
lot of nicknames for them. There
yeah. Oh,
still are. They have new names for these new guys, but the old guys are gone, and they got rid of them, and they have not had handlers come out since. And that
no,
was
and
I don't know how many years ago.
I did spot Frumpy Guy with Jeffrey Farrell, and I did spot him several months ago. And I put him up on
Uh,
YouTube, and Daniel and I have a Ombre. We had a lot of going back and forth with him. He would come out and handle. That was as unsuccessful it was, he made for great video, and like I kind of liked a lot of these handlers. So
yeah,
not bad for him in a way, but we spent a lot of time talking to him, and
we
so
spent a lot of time talking to them. I mean,
right.
it's some of the guards we spent. I would say, what's the one guy's name that we spent a ton?
Andy,
What's it? No,
Andy,
no, not Andy. You always say Andy, and it's the other guy.
what the one over at the one with Big Blue,
Yeah, he
or
is now.
okay, that was Otto. Otto was a Big Blue. Andy
Yeah,
and Frank.
Otto.
Otto. Well, I spent more time in the HGB picketing, and that was Andy and Frank, and Steve Myers, the three
Right.
guys that I would picket, with, or like handle.
And back in the day when you protested there at the HGB, and the HGB is the big cement building on it's
Hollywood and Ivar.
Hollywood and Ivar. It's right off Vine, and a lot of the executives used to be there. They're not there. I don't think they're there anymore. In fact, we've often wondered what do they do there anymore because they really don't have orgs anymore. So
It's like it seems like the hours are cut down, and the buses I have caught recently, much older people work there, but uh, so traditionally, I mean, when I was picketing 2008, 2009, a lot over there, 2000 into 2011. I think some of the last videos I really did long pickets there. They come out and handle. Uh, they worked those dudes to death. I mean, they got there in the morning. They didn't leave till late at night.
yeah,
And they were some sleep deprived souls. And a lot of those people, they overworked them, and a lot of those people routed out or got out on their own.
or died.
Yeah, and then, but what I've seen lately over there, the buses come late. They pick them up early, and they're much older people. So it seems like the young people split out of there, and then you're just left with the people probably, may or I don't know if they're just it seems like there's older people. I don't know what their deal is, but the hours are cut down. Like so, in 2008, staff day is on Thursday, right? So in 2008, that was the first time when I
Their
was
statistics end on Thursday at 2.
right.
It sounded like you said staff day.
Yeah, I did. So statistics
Okay.
should do it too on a Thursday. Well, Thursday on Christmas Day was Christmas Day in 2008 fell on a Thursday. And since I was talking to the guards, I'm like, "Are you going to be here on Christmas Day? Don't tell me you're going to be here on Christmas Day. I mean, you guys have the L. Ron Hubbard's, Christmas, Winter Wonderland. We got Santa
Right.
Claus. Yeah, it's like, but the Scientology's a fraud from the top to the bottom. Like anything you could think of, they do. It's just fraudulent. It's just a complete fraud. So the fact that they're selling that their religion, or they believe in Christmas with having big fat Santa out there. They don't believe in that shit. So, anyways, I was like, Andy, you gonna be here? Like, we're not gonna be here. I'm like, well, I'm gonna come and check to see if you're gonna be here. And I certainly came and I stayed with this camera for hours.
Yeah.
And Andy came out. No one's here, man. No one's here. Like maybe 20 people are here, or like reality, everyone was there, and they kept them till 2 o'clock.
Well, they're on post. They have to be.
They have to, yeah. And but they were able to wear civilian clothes, for the most part, and they did let them off at 2, but still, I mean, working them on Christmas Day, and the fact he lied to me, it's like, don't lie to me. You know what I mean? Like, if you lie to me, I'm gonna prove you're lying, and I did. I stayed there, and
Right.
They did, and the video I produced is probably one of my more proud work, my Christmas Day video, 2008. I think the video is like, I think 50 minutes long, but realistically, I was there 4 hours, and it rained on me and everything, and they come out. They try to like give me some footage. Maybe if we give them some footage, they'll go away. It's like, no, I'm here to see if there are people working here, and you got to let them out eventually. You know what I mean? So I stayed until they let them out to show that they're here.
Were you with me with the pancake thing? Was that you or someone else? I think it was Peter.
Okay.
But we went by the complex years ago, and some guy was making pancakes.
Nice.
A kid was out making pancakes at 11 at night, and we were just going to the movies. So I said, Peter, let's stop and ask him why he's making pancakes at this time of the night. All we wanted to know. If he would have just said, this is why I'm making them, we would have been on our way. But he ran away and ran inside, and I said, don't let them stop your free speech. And they wouldn't let him out. And so then we just decided, all right, that's it, we're staying. And they locked everyone in the AO, which is the end of L. Ron Hubbard Way, for hours, because they can't leave while we're there. It was really interesting. And the guard kept blaming me. He'd come by and he'd say, you're the reason why we're all locked in. And I'd say,
no, you're the reason.
You're the reason.
Yeah,
if you would have let him just tell us why he was making pancakes, we would have been on our way.
Right. It's amazing the amount of power the Scientologists give, the SPs or whatever. They give them so much power by doing stuff like that. Just keeping them inside. If they just, they're supposed to be able to confront, shatter, suppression, right? If I'm out there, they should be just walk right by me, like, get out of here. You know what I mean? But they can't.
They can't.
Yeah, they can't. Which is I don't know what kind of effect that has on them, knowing that when they're stuck in there and they just see some idiot, some just normal person out there, like, what? That's keeping us in the building. That one punch with the sign.
Remember the curtain tech? Curtain tech?
Oh yeah, I was like,
tell them that, because most people weren't around for the curtain tech.
Yeah, they always when we come around, they put the curtains up, and it was
on
always
the windows.
Right, it's always fun to put them up. Watching them put it up, right? Because here they come, like zip, 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 zip. All the curtains would come up, and now current tech is in force 24/7. I mean, I think that because if you look, curtains are just up all the time, except
they're not curtains now. They have covers. They're like things for the windows.
Yeah, like permanent.
Yeah. I mean, they can turn them into where it's like a shade. Where you can't see in.
But I think we were by Ash Show, and I think Peter and I are walking around, and they didn't have the curtains up. But then again, they didn't have anyone in the building, so they're not. If no
which is always.
Yeah. So I mean, if you heard years ago that you could ride a bicycle around in there, someone said that was in there. Like, yeah, you can ride a bicycle. It's completely empty. Nothing going on in Asheville. So
that was one of the fun things about Drew, because we were protesting, and he's a big skater. So you brought your roller skates, and at first he's just skating up and down L. Ron Hubbard Way, and this was back when they had people out and about on the street. And the guards, and I said, keep doing it. This is fabulous because they can't do that. So then the next time we had a protest, you came on a one-seater, I don't know what you call it, a
Uni,
one-seater bicycle?
unicycle.
Unicycle. Yeah. And you were good. You were really good. It was amazing.
I got to bring the unicycle again.
You should do it. Yeah.
Yeah,
It'd be
I,
fun. Even if you
yeah.
just do it on the street.
Some of the fun things with this flag, when I was anonymous, had the V for Vendetta flag, and I had this orange hoodie, and I used to, Daniel and I went to Gold Base, and he has a video of me unicycling with the flag in full, anonymous in front of the guard shack, back and forth a few times, and that was fun. Oh God.
Yeah.
L.
Yeah.
Ron Hubbard Way with the anonymous flag and the unicycle. So we definitely had a lot of fun protesting, and
I know. I know.
and we caught a lot of and we were kind of a bridge. Like Susan, that came out from England. She saw one of the some of the crew that was filming the HGB. She was watching the videos because her daughter was in. And she was a really sad. There are a lot of sad stories in Scientology, but she had just real some.
You think?
Yeah, just a little bit, right? Yeah, but she had 2 daughters in Scientology, and one got pregnant. And Susan asked, "Well, what do you want to do?" And she's like, "Well, I don't want to abort the baby. I want to leave. I want to leave the Sea Org." So they both, the mother and the one daughter, split, right? And the plan was to get the other daughter out, but before they can get the other daughter out, they squirreled her away to Gold Base. They hit her, and her name was Mandy. And eventually they moved her back to the HGB, and we caught a video. She didn't know if her daughter was dead or alive, which is just crazy for a mother not to know if your kid's dead. You got 2 daughters, and you don't know if one is dead or not. You don't know.
Right.
No communications or anything. And she saw just an image. She walked out a door and walked right back in, and she caught a glimpse of her. Like, that's my daughter. I know she's at the HGB. Now I know she's at the HGB. And she came out from England, and we had a huge and they actually knew she came out, and they preemptively took her to the police station, knowing, I know my mother's here. I don't want to see her. Surrounded by probably handlers, people that handled her. Who knows the story, but we had a huge picket, and in the end, she never got to see her daughter. And if she's out there, Susan, we didn't forget you. And and that was very. I interviewed her. She has an interview on my channel. Susan does, and that was. I don't know. Whenever it's really heartbreaking when you see stuff like that. So
yeah, it is, and there's a lot of them. There's a lot.
A lot.
It really is.
I mean,
anyway, things luckily are changing in that they are decreasing every single day. People are leaving Scientology. Odo asked, Chuck Beatty, hi Chuck, asked, was I talking about Odo Huber? I never knew his last name. Yes. Okay, good. Yeah. And then the other one Chuck mentioned is, so only diehard older people are left at the HGB. I saw one of William Good's videos, and most I didn't recognize. I used to work in the HGB. Yeah, so you would have known them. But you have to remember, as they get older, they also pass away. And a bunch of them, I think they have in, like nursing homes kind of thing.
Shout out to Chuck Beatty. I spent a lot of time talking to him. He's filled me in on a lot of things. Like Tori, you filled me in on a lot of things on what a public Scientology. You were a public Scientologist for 30 years. And, and Chuck's old time Sea Org member, and, long time. And he filled me on a lot of things about, what Sea Org life was all about. He's very informative, a huge source of information, picketing. And he knew a lot. When I was picketing, he knew a lot of the people that he knew a lot of people, just like flat out, so he was very helpful. And
the interesting thing Oh, anyway, go
I
on.
was able to get some information through to some of those people, like Steve Myers. He, he was amazed at the amount of stuff I knew, but I knew it because Chuck Beatty was talking to me, and he had a network of people he stayed in contact with. So when I told him, like, you worked on the Chug reports, Chug advices, and then about the guys that worked with him, and it's all out on the internet, which shouldn't be on the internet. I mean, it was like, if you see the moment that I told Steve Myers that, his face was like, whoa, like all that stuff was supposed to be top secret. If people left, they took their secrets with them. Sorry, Steve, they took their secrets with them, and that was amazing to have that link. You know what I mean? Just to be a conduit where I can move information, to the people that were in. Like, no, your secrets aren't secret, buddy. Like, everything's out. OT3's out. Everything's out, man. You're not keeping any secrets here. So that was fun. And that was fun. And I just want to say hi to Chuck. So
Good. Well, one comment you mentioned, Chuck, about the older people. This was in the 90s. I was at Flag and still thinking, I was still in, and I was still thinking I might go back in the Sea Org. And I wanted to find out, because I was getting older myself. I mean, I was only in my 50s back then, but I still thought, I want to find out. They said they had senior hours for Sea Org. And so I got this older woman, and I said, can you come in the room and talk to me? And I said, okay, I really want to know, do they really have senior hours, or what's the deal? And she looked at me and she goes, Tori, think about it. Look around the Flag Land Base. And in the 90s, they were all, like 30, 40-year-old younger people, right? And she said, and here I am, I have to keep up with their statistics. If my statistics aren't up with theirs, I'm down stat, and then I don't get a day off or a half a day off, that kind of thing. So I'm sure it's much worse now because they're much older.
right. I mean, when we pick it at night, we see older people moving around boxes of files and whatnot. And
always women.
Yeah.
Always.
Or old guy, but
I know, but it's such a Scientology thing where they make, why can't the men do it? They have plenty of younger men, but no, have an older woman be carrying these huge things.
With a big dolly and a big stack of boxes, like, come on.
Right.
You're just like, oh God, I just want to help you. And then they have these perfectly capable younger people, and they're the ones that are the executives are doing the auditing or getting, regging and whatnot. And the older people are well, Chuck was telling me about that you'll get a guy that might have been really high up, but for whatever reason, it always comes around that, their stats are low or something. And next thing you know, they're driving a bus. And that's right. The rest of their career is like driving a bus or moving boxes around or some low mid-level job or whatever, or lower level job. That's kind of like the end phenomenon for a lot of older Sea Org members. This
and if you're listening, you can open the door and leave. L. Ron Hubbard says the way out is the way through, but my quote for a long time has been, the way out is the nearest door. And all you have to do is walk up there, open it, leave. Call me, I'll come pick you up. I will. And also, Hagabasher asked me, Tori, did you see the young Scottish Scientologist whom T, and she's a person from another country, but I interviewed her, met in Edinburgh, and Alex interviewed left Scientology. No, he was put on punishment after the interview with Alex. Oh, well, I see. Alex left Scientology, but the other guy was put on punishment for doing the interview. Yeah, it's tricky. It's really tricky because they'll get you one way or the other.
Yep, I guess so.
Here's Chuck. Oh, here's on the pancakes. Guess who loves strawberry pancakes? Me. David Savage, because he when I lived in the ASI birthing. Now, ASI is the Author Services.
Yeah.
I'm asking Chuck. Oh, yeah, he can't answer. Okay. The ASI birthing across the hall was a room Miscavige used, and strawberry pancakes often was the smell. Ooh, now you're making me hungry.
Strawberry pancakes, the choice of cult
I know.
leaders.
I know. Here's one more from JB808, who's in Hawaii. Aloha. Question: as an old guard protester, what motivated you to continue? Thank you, by the way. So that's to you.
Oh, the job wasn't done. I mean, it's still out there, so it's still. But
What was the main thing that motivated you more than anything? That's a good question.
well, okay, so the second, so the third, I missed the first worldwide anonymous picket. I missed it. I didn't have the dates correct or whatever. I don't know. I wasn't on the forums. I'm always behind in technology. I'm always like one generation behind. Uh, everyone has an iPhone 16. I got an iPhone 8. Everyone's live streaming. I'm still using camcorders, so I'm always a little bit behind. So I missed the first one. The second one, I kind of lurked. I had a bicycle. I kind of looked around, because it's. But the third one, I showed up. I had the V for Vendetta mask. I had a camcorder. I
You
produced
were
one.
ready.
I was ready. I parked my car like 10 blocks away. Uh, and I stayed. I'll tell you that I stayed late. I was like, I was in the military. I can stand and stay at a picket forever. I got endurance for days. So, anyways, it was the worldwide. There's hundreds of people there, and it whittled down to 3 people, me and a couple, like these 2 people, and the police finally surrounded. Like, this is unlawful assembly. It's 3 people, right? But we didn't know the laws back then as far as like
And
civil
this
rights
was
and
in
stuff.
around what year, just so they know?
2008. So this is it. It wasn't like now you tell a cop, if a cop told you unlawful assembly is 3 people, you get out of here. It's 3 people. You'd kind of like go back and forth with them. But cops didn't have body cameras. I don't believe back then. They could push you into a wall if they wanted to, and there's no recording. So you tend to be, unless you want to get, brutalized and get, you just kind of like do what they said, I guess. And I walked them to their car, and they're going to give me a ride to my car. So we walked to their car, and they had in the back of their car, they had a sign. They had stickers all over the back window of like, look at Scientology, or I don't know. They had some anti-Scientology slogan in the back with stickers on the back window of their car. So the cops, as soon as they pulled out of the parking lot they're parked in, the cops instantly pulled them over. And the reason we thought was that, if they pulled them over right away, it's probably to get their ID. I don't think they give a shit about the stickers, because
Right.
it wasn't even correct anyways, because you're not supposed to obstruct the rear window, but if you have a left and right mirror, it doesn't matter. You can paint the window black if you wanted to. But in the old days when cars only had one, anyways, whatever. So they pulled them over right away, and our were like freaking out, like, what the hell? Because they were stalking us, right? And they pulled out, and they instantly pulled him over, got the guy's ID, the guy, and then as soon as we left the cops, there were 2 SUVs that were following and chasing him. He did U-turns trying to lose these guys. I'm like, stop driving like a nut. You're not going to lose these guys. It's just not. You're not going to lose anyone around Hollywood. It's just not going to work. Just drive slow. Like drive 5 miles an hour where it's obvious they're following you or something. I don't know. Anyways, so eventually they dropped me off at my truck, and they able to like block the drive. I ran my truck, and I got out of there, and they didn't get my driver's license, but they got theirs. And then at that moment, with the 2 SUVs and the cops, right, fought just for picketing. How intense the intense it, like the pushback was, how much the cops were in Scientology's pocket, and how they're using PIs, and Scientology is really creepy, and that kind of made me want to picket more.
Right.
I was in the military. Military is supposed to protect people's freedoms, and they're trying to suppress free speech, basically. I mean, it's just, picket. It's harmless. Like, it's a picket sign, and they're going to use PIs and cops and everything else against people. They're just
And dirty tricks.
dirty tricks. Oh yeah, nasty stuff. I think one of the people that organized. There's no founders are anonymous, but there were people that did more organizing. I think they killed his cat or something. You know, they poisoned his cat. It's just a lot of wacky shit. You know, that happened over that. You know, and they're really hardcore back in the day. They weren't afraid to.
But I will say that that is a big thing for everyone that's on here tonight. And I know you shared this with me. We thank you because all of you filming and being around and talking and sharing things, it so much exposes what they do. So they really can't do the shit that they used to do, like Audit LA, going down to the city commission and talking to them. You know, it's like stuff like that is so major because they're not used to that. They're really not. And they don't have the material or the manpower that they used to have.
No,
they just don't.
And it, yeah, and shout out to, you know, Street. Yeah, she's amazing. She just deserves a medal for some of the stuff she dug up.
You mean Audit LA?
Audit LA.
You said LA. Streets.
I did.
Yeah, but Streets is cool too. LA.
Yeah, Streets is cool too. Like,
yeah.
Streets is pretty much a reason why they can't open the windows anymore. I mean,
right.
That big voice. Holy
and he said, I don't care about getting these people out. I want this place shut down. When he found out they were getting the young kids, trying to get them into the Sea Org.
Right.
So,
which is really actually, you know, the way to do it, because if they're shut down, they can't get anyone in. So
yeah. And the funny thing is that testing center is now like a tourist trap for TikTok. If you go on TikTok, all these kids fly here and take videos of Shannon shutting the door on them. It's like, we just went by there the other night and she did it.
Right. And it's funny when you interview people that are leaving, and they come out and they're just like, they already know about Scientology. They just went into as a goof, you know, they just.
Right. Yeah. They're like, oh yeah, we're not going to do it.
Yeah.
Oh.
No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry. Well, just JB808 said, thanks for being there for Tori every week. And I agree. You know, you've been a huge help for me. You really have.
Yeah, we've become really good friends, I think.
We've had a lot of fun. We've had a lot of fun together. We really have. All right. And then Chuck says, good info, Tori. Hi, Tori and Casper. That's right. You used to be Casper, the friend.
I am. Yeah. So,
that's right. And then Chuck says, yes, Tori. Hey, Casper, do a video of that other place west of the Anthony building sometime. I'm not sure what you'll have to talk to him and ask him what he's talking about, because I don't know.
I do. He's talking about the birthing. I believe talking about the birthing. I'll check with Chuck what he means.
Okay, we can make a video about it. And the other one that Drew got me to go to that I had never been in. Now you have to get Scientology all the time is protesting anti-Scientology, and they do these big marches and all this shit. I was in a lot of that, but I'd never been in CCHR. Now I get out of Scientology, meet Drew, and he goes, yeah, let's go for a tour. And I go, I can't go for a tour. They're not going to let me in there. And he goes, oh, yeah, they will. They're mostly older people that I don't even think they're Scientologists. So sure enough, we go in there, and it is spooky as shit. If you were anywhere near LA, I highly recommend you do it, because, I mean, I don't throw up really hardly ever, but I almost threw up after going through that. It was so gross. It was, you know, it's like 1700 kind of weirdo shit that they did. And at the end, remember what I said?
No, I don't remember what you said. I'm sorry.
I said we should build something right next to CCHR showing all their abuses.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, yes, you did. I said, okay, sorry.
Yeah.
I remember.
In Scientology. Because that would be fabulous. It really would. And it couldn't be that much money. Do you know what I mean? And I think it would be really powerful.
Right. I mean, yeah, you could have, oh, God, there's so many things like Lisa McPherson, and then all the children that committed suicide. They just an insane amount of, just, and then the family disconnections, you know, it's just a, oh yeah, there's a lot of exhibits you can have, just tons of them, you know, sexual abuse that happened and what, all just really wild stuff.
And the regging and the fraud and the medical abuse, it's like it just goes on and on. The
Oh
bill,
yeah,
your contract, the kids, the slave camps, it's just all of it would be awful. All right, now High Seas Banditry says, love Drew's flag. Was Drew active on Why We Protest Forum, the anonymous message board? If so, what was his screen name?
it would have been Casper.
Yeah, Casper.
Yeah, and it would. Yeah, and is that?
I think you were sort of on that.
Yeah, I mean, I would post my videos, but I didn't get involved in discussions.
Right.
I was mostly reading it. I wasn't organizing anything per se.
But, I got it. But he's not saying organizing. He's just saying, did you post on it?
No, I mean, I'd post my videos. I believe that would be it. If I was gonna, I can't recall doing too much on that, but I would read it. I would. Yeah, I definitely had a login. Yeah. I probably have a.
All right, now here's a question from JB808. What was the most memorable thing you've witnessed while protesting? That's a good.
God, there's a lot of. I don't. You got to pick something. So, I mean, I think when Ann and Orange got punched in the face, that was memorable. Or when or when Giju Scudolari shoved my camera, then ran down the block. That was extremely memorable. That was a lot of fun. Or when Alex smacked the camera out of my hand, but I had a neck strap on, so it didn't work. But there's some memorable stuff in there. With Steve Myers, I told him about the chug reports. His face just went, just like whoa, just like he was just like just like he couldn't get over that information was out there on the internet. He was just they're in a cult, they don't know what's out there, and that's out on there on one of my videos. You could see his face just go, holy crap, and just to see a grown man just like almost get wobbly on his feet because they're just freaking out about what's out there on the internet.
Yeah, because they don't know, they can't look.
Yeah, and they know what I'm telling them is true, and they're like, holy, how's this just this guy I think nothing of know this shit. You know what I mean? Like, he wasn't in the cult or anything. He knows stuff that that's top secret stuff or whatever. So yeah, a lot of little memorable things.
Right.
Susan coming out. That was that's actually get to hug a mother that can't hug her daughter, basically.
Right.
That's stuff that'll be scorched in my mind forever. Just a lot of that stuff. But also, I mean, just the memorable stuff is seeing not a lot of people in Scientology now, which always makes me happy. I mean, it's hard to explain the magnitude of shrinkage, in the cult that we see. It's just there's no. I mean, Friday night, nothing going on. We drive down there, nothing happening, man.
Someone just asked. Question, is this the Drew that goes to Big Blue with Tori? We know Tori's in good hands when she's with you. Thank you. Either way, still catching up on the 1.5 speed. This is the Drew, and he's the one that's at Big Blue with me. Yeah. And absolutely, thank you. And this is Billy Sheehan's. Oh, God. Yeah, that was weird.
Oh, that was a good one. You nailed it. Yeah.
You, Tori, talked to Billy Sheehan. I remember it. That was when Anonymous, their very first picket. And Billy Sheehan is a pretty famous guitar player, right?
Yeah.
And so he showed up with a sign saying that is the information being told about OT3 is not true. and I was like, Scientology never lets people come out unless it's with OSA. So, what do they want him to do? They want him to discredit anything we're saying about, because Anonymous had there were 500 people here in LA. There were 9,000 people around the world that very day that we first protested.
Right.
And Billy Sheehan came out with that sign. And I'm like, okay, which part of it? You tell me which part of it isn't true. I did OT3. I know exactly what it is. It's on www.xenu.net. The handwritten thing by LRH is on there. So you guys can go read it if you want. But he couldn't really answer it. He just kind of went around in circles. Billy Sheehan is the only celebrity who came out. Yeah. He was a standout. Yeah, he was. He definitely stood out. And I don't think it helped them. I really don't. Because it definitely gave us more to talk about.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But,
I think they learned a lesson. They don't bring out any handlers anymore.
no.
I don't know if they have people to handle. I don't think that they have the excess people. I think. I don't know. I don't. If they, yeah. God, they had so many handlers back then, and so many, Scientologists would talk to you. God, I remember this couple. One was a school teacher, a female school teacher. I forget her name, but I remember, for months after Gigi Scolari hit my camera, I was like trying to explain to the Scientologist what happened, and she was a school teacher, right? And say, Gigi Scolari assaulted my camera, and she's like, "Well, is your camera going to file assault charges?" It's like, that's a good point. That's why they hit the camera, because you're right. I mean, it's a good way out for them, but they did stuff like that to try to entrap you. That's why he ran down the block, to try to get chase him, and then. But they previously in the same picket, they called the cops and said we were chasing staff members, which we would never do, But they wanted.
Right.
That's why it hit me, to call the cops. Oh, look, he's chasing him, and Andy ran down in parallel to Geechee with a pair of handcuffs, and I didn't take the bait. And yeah, that's out there on the internet. That was fun because he turned around, seeing me. I was way back there, and he was like, "God dang, it didn't work." But that was. Yeah, but they did stuff like that. They would do stuff like that, and they don't.
Yeah, they were very abusive. I mean, they came around the corner one time when I was by the testing center with a bunch of protesters. I'm not sure if you were there or not, but a guy came around the corner and just slammed me in the chest. I was with Tommy Gorman. That was it. Who was a wrestler, and they ended up screwing up his wrist so he can't box anymore.
Yeah, they hit him with the leather thing.
Yeah, they were a lot more physically abusive back then. They pushed me down the stairs in Ireland. And, if John McGee hadn't caught me, I would have been dead. I would have been either dead or paralyzed for life.
Oh, my God.
I was like flying. It was like really scary. So luckily, at least because I think they have less people, they're not, and they're more because of the internet and all the people that are looking, protesting, talking about it, sharing information. They just can't do it.
And there's way more cameras than there used to be. I mean, there's so many.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Every one of these people has a camera.
Right. So, and it's live streamed. So it's like.
And it's live streamed.
Yeah, they could take a camera, crush it, but it's already on the internet. Like,
right.
These if this camera got stolen from me, all my footage should be gone. And actually, I like this because they had 60-minute tapes, so I constantly were. So at least I had a bunch of recorded tapes. Even if they grabbed the camera, they'd have to grab the tapes too, because I would have a bunch of. But yeah, live streaming changed a lot. It definitely changed the game. It did make it. I think it made it a lot safer for the picketers having it live streamed in some some ways.
Absolutely, 100%.
Right.
All right. Now this is from Chuck Beatty. Tori, you were the Scientology best handler. They really haven't had anyone as good as you were for them. Thank you. Yeah, it was interesting because I am a strong believer in common sense and just talking to people. And so I would go out and just talk to them. And it was amazing. A lot of times they would leave and I'd go back in and Osa would say, "What did you do?" And I'd say, "I just talked to them. They're just people. They're not Martians. They're people that have a different viewpoint than you do. That's all." I mean, my favorite Scientology story, which I wrote up to Mike Rinder before I left, when he was still in, and I was up in, I think, Seattle, and we went up there for a whole different thing, but it was a legal thing and we went up there and we went by, I think maybe it was Portland. I forget. Anyway, we went by a Scientology mission and I said, "Oh, I want to go in there. I really do." And I was with my friend and she said, "Okay." And she said, "But you were going to get your hair cut." And I said, "Yeah, that's true." So I went in and got my hair cut, but I said, "You know what? I've got to get to a plane, so I don't have time for you to blow dry it, to get it all blow dried." So we just kind of fluffed it out. And now we go to the Scientology place, and there's two guys out in front. One has a protest sign, and one has one of those Xenu dolls. Remember they had all those Xenu dolls?
All the green Xenu dolls.
Yeah. Yeah, so they only had one and one protest. That was it. And I go inside, and they're all hiding inside. They're like at the back of the mission, and they're like cowering and really in fear. And I say, "What is going on with you guys?" And this other guy goes, "Oh my God, Tori's here. She can handle it if she will." And I said, "What's the problem?" And they said, "Those guys, they're out in front of our mission." And I said, "Okay, I'll give it my best shot." So remember, I just had my hair washed. So now I'm going next to the guy with the protest sign, and I'm saying, "Why are you here? What do you want done? What's your purpose? Blah, blah, blah." And he's, just like, "I'm not talking to you. I'm not talking to you. I'm not talking to you." And let's say the window, he's here and the window is here. Well, let's say, the window's there and I'm on the other side of him. So I can see my reflection in the window, right?
Right.
You see, like I'm on one side, he's on another, and then the window. And so as I'm talking to him, I'm looking in the window and I think, "God, my hair looks awful." And so I say to him, I know, but listen to what happens. I say, "God, my hair looks really bad. What do you think?" And he doesn't say anything. He keeps marching along. And I said, "No, really, man, I'm asking you, just as a person, just look at my hair and tell me if you think it looks really weird or not." And he just bursts out laughing. And I said, "What?" And he goes, "My mom always asks me that question, and I never know what to say." And he looked at his friend, and he goes, "You know what? Let's go home." And they just packed up everything and left. That was it. And I wrote that up to Mike Rinder saying, "You guys come out and say, what are your overts? What are your crimes?" But I asked the guy, "How do you like my hair?" And that's what got him to go. You know what I mean? It was just a simple, honest question that I asked him.
Awesome. And I think we're the same as how we like talking to people,
Yeah,
handler.
you're good at talking.
That wouldn't have talked to me because I would have talked to right off the bat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The fact that he was holding it in, "I'm not talking." Why wouldn't he talk to you? I mean, like if, I think he wouldn't have had that huge reaction because he's building up like, "I can't talk to you now." Oh my God, it's so funny, But I love when people come and talk to me. That was great. Handlers, even if they're being mean, it was hard for them to be mean for long because I'd be talking to them. They can't.
Yeah.
I didn't have anyone really being. Oh man, some funny stuff, man. Even Patty.
You're a friendly person, so you're a nice person to talk to.
Yeah, it was fun. I miss the handlers. They should come back.
Yeah.
We got bring back the handlers.
All right, now this is from Sieglin, who was in Scientology. She said, "What happens when Scientology denies the OT3 materials and then someone does OT3 and it turns out to be exactly that? LOL." Okay, I can answer that because I did OT3, but I didn't do it while they were, I hadn't heard about it until I did it. But I know that I've asked people when I was in that same question, and they just said, "Look, we take them inside and say, you don't believe everything you read, do you?" That it's like, okay, we had to say something. LRH says you could get pneumonia if we talked to you about it before you were on OT3. And we didn't want you to get sick, so we just said, no, it's not true. But now you're here, and now this is the real material, so there you go. And almost everybody was like, okay.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of nutty stuff that happens before OT3. Like if you look at the history of man and there's a lot of stuff you kind of have to accept before you even get to OT3. So I don't think OT3. I mean, it is a little wacky for us that don't know about it, but maybe it answers a lot of
It was
questions
pretty
people.
wacky for me, and I was on the bridge to total freedom, and it was very wacky. I said, "You got to be kidding me!" No,
But it is wild that Aleister Crowley that Hubbard followed. It was always like you put the hidden secret, you put it at the end over here, but you put symbols of the hidden secret in the beginning, and that's why
right,
there's that volcano on the cover of Dianetics, because
right,
really that's OT3. They don't get to that for a long time, but I think
right.
that designed so when you do get to the volcano, go, oh, that's why the volcano is on Dianetic. I don't know, maybe I'm not a Scientologist.
No,
I
no, I
could be
think
wrong.
so. I think
Yeah.
you're right. I do.
Okay.
All right, now Chuck asked the Scientology cameras to foil the Scientology cameras. Just aim the wand Xenu caused the wall of fire at the camera. They have to scrub that all off their film. Wow,
All right, let's give that a
interesting.
shot. Mel, post
Z-
up. Post up
Xenu
his.
caused the wall of fire. Okay, I didn't know that they have to scrub it off.
Man, I should get a
Makes
T-shirt
sense.
made with that. Xenu caused the
And
wall
then
of fire.
Kelly asked Drew, "Do you know Dan Mernan? Do you know Dan Mernan is still around?
I
I
don't
saw him
know.
in a protester stream in Clearwater. I think he probably is.
Really? Wait,
I do.
how long ago? I guess we ask how long ago was that stream?
I don't know. You'll have to post it. How long ago was it, Kelly?
Yeah.
And then this is from Chuck. Love the Xenu dolls. I gave away a Xenu doll to a mother and their daughter, and they went to New Haven org, and it caused the org to freak out. These
Oh,
are
awesome.
big blow up Xenu dolls for anybody who doesn't know. That's what we're talking about. Okay, and then Chuck says, "Great story, Tori. Pass from the course soup. Who approves your drills or essays? That was excellent. Yeah, thank you. I know the one about the hair, right? Yeah, it's one of my very, very favorite ones because it's so simple. You know what I mean? And
Oh,
they all packed up and left.
thank you, Chuck.
Thank you. Yeah. And Drew, you're a natural also, which you are. You really are. He's helped a bunch.
Oh.
And Kelly said it was last summer she saw Dan.
Oh, so well, hey, I mean,
That's
it's
recent.
only 9 months ago, 8 months ago. So, all
Yeah.
right, well, good for Dan hanging in there.
Yeah. Yeah. Good.
He's,
Good, good, good. And
I,
do you want to tell them what you do other than that or not?
what do you mean?
Well, it's kind of fun how you get into other buildings, Scientology buildings. But I don't know if you want to get into it or not.
Oh, HG, what, other than the HGB or? Yes.
No, just in general around LA. You have work that you do that you
Oh,
go
yeah,
into buildings.
I haven't been I haven't been inside any Scientology buildings.
Oh,
So,
okay. I thought you
no,
had.
no, 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 no.
Okay.
I mean,
Didn't forget.
I've been around them, so, and that just being around them is creepy enough. Well, that's what sparked my interest because you know, a church acts one way, and Scientology does not act like a church. Uh, the
Right.
extreme paranoia that surrounds Scientology is definitely next level, and
Yeah.
it will make you curious about what the hell is going on in there. And the
Right.
neat thing about the internet is you can find out what's going on in there because there's plenty of people that have spoken there. What happened in there, uh, and it is a rabbit hole. And I remember the first 10 years of like it's just more and more stuff. It was like it just now it's not as shocking because but it was for about a decade there. It's like holy crap, like, and then you read about the stuff going on in Gold Base and even the stuff. I remember talking to Grant, about he he was involved in cases, and he's had
You
files
mean
submitted.
Graham?
Graham. Sorry,
Yeah, you said Grant.
I did.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Graham
you know,
Berry.
Graham Berry. He's been involved in some crazy cases.
Yeah,
Doctors doing surgery in hotel rooms. Because they didn't want to pay for the hospital, like Scientology doctors. Just weird things like that would take place. You know,
right, right.
Kendrick Mox's daughter getting electrocuted. In a vault. Just
And
just
I knew his wife, and she was the person I knew was very nice, and I was just
mm,
amazed that it just seemed like it. I mean, I'm sure it meant a lot to her, but I was surprised she stayed. I really thought she would leave with that.
mm.
She's that kind of person. But anyway, here's the thing from Professor Kakan. Question, Tori, what's your opinion of artists? Okay, what's your opinion of artists' impressions of Xenu looking like Ming the Merciless from Buck Rogers? That I don't know. I'm sorry, I never watched Ming the Merciless from Buck Rogers. All right, Hubbard described the society almost identical. Wait, he described it almost identical. What happened? It went away. What happened to that?
Oh, oops.
Hubbard described the society almost identical to 1960s Earth modern civilization. I have no answer to that because I don't know what you're talking about. Maybe you do, Drew.
Oh, well, I guess maybe Hubbard. Well, I think in with OT3 materials, he's like, these spacecrafts will look exactly like DC-9s. I guess he wasn't creative enough to come up with futuristic spacecraft, so he's just like, you know, uh, you know, spacecrafts that look like DC-9s. Are you freaking kidding me? Uh,
Yeah,
you know,
75,000 years ago.
Yeah, they're DC-9s. Okay,
Right.
and then it just looks like 1960. It looked back then, just like it does right now. I just think it might be Hubbard's laziness, maybe of not trying to create a whole world. It's like it's just like it was now, but it was then. So he doesn't. That's like it sounds like to me a shortcut of not having to develop a whole world.
Yeah,
It's
I
all
think you're
made.
right.
Yeah.
I think you're right. So thank you for explaining that because I didn't quite know what he was talking about. All right, Hubbard described everything on the whole track. This is from Sieglin to be like the 60s because that was the latest technology when he was alive. Like
Right.
Xenu's planes being the DC-8s, he had no
Oh,
clue about the future, which was another thing for me. It was sort of like, okay, they always, when you're in Scientology, in the Scientology Truman Show, it's like L. Ron Hubbard knew everything, past, present, future. He was all knowing, all amazing per what they were always pitching. But it was like, okay, if he's all knowing, why didn't he know about the internet? That was my number one question.
he didn't
As
foresee that.
yeah, because you already got me on the net. I was like, now wait a minute. This is all over the world, but you don't have any barriers set up in Scientology, any policies, any tech, anything except that we're suppressive people, but it's like, come on, to me, it just was like, he didn't see it. He really didn't. That's the fact. He didn't see it. And
Right.
that really blows out he's all knowing, no, he isn't.
He's not.
I mean, my favorite story about L. Ron Hubbard is a bunch of us did you go to that play in Pasadena, Drew?
Yes.
You did?
Yes.
And remember they had Aleister Crowley up in a balcony. I mean, he was like in some kind of a thing, like in a playhouse where they have those little seats, close to the stage, but up high. And
Right.
that was where Aleister Crowley was. And then L. Ron Hubbard was a big Dumbo for these kids. These kids were at Parsons College, and they were putting on this play. Is this the one
Mm.
we're talking about? You were at this one?
You
No,
know what? Okay, I may
I
not
don't
be.
think you were.
I think I'm confusing it
You're
with
thinking of the Tom Cruise one.
no, with that the slideshow that kid did. One of
That's
the
not
guys.
it.
Okay, sorry. Okay, then I'm
That's
not
not
confused.
it.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So just to finish it, Hubbard, they had demonstrated as a super Dumbo, right? And
Okay.
then there was Jack Parsons, who was Mr. Smart Guy, you know, engineer, worked at JPL, blah, blah, blah. So now it's break time. First of all, two things happened. One, Aleister Crowley's group is called OTO, which I've
Right.
never really studied, but this girl behind me was in all black. And I said, "Are you part of the OTO?" I was sort of kidding, right? And she goes, "Oh, absolutely." And I said, "Really?" And I said, "And you're active now with doing this?" And she said, "Oh, yeah, 100%." So that was freaky. Then we have a break at the break time, and I wanted to meet Hubbard, and I wanted to find out why they had him demonstrated as a dummy. And I said, because we in Scientology, he was like this great guy, all this stuff. I didn't think he was, but he was always promoted that way. They did not promote him that way. So I asked this kid, "What's the deal? Why is Hubbard such a dumbo?" And they said, "That's the way we see him. He's just a dumb guy that followed around Aleister Crowley." And I said, "Why is Crowley up on the ceiling?" And he said, "Because Hubbard never met him." And that I did not know.
Oh, wow.
Everything was letters. That was all his communications with Aleister Crowley. You see, that I didn't know.
Huh. Hmm.
Okay, now it
Wow.
says Hubbard describes everything on the whole text. Okay, so we did that. And then here's Chuck Beatty. One thing in the 1982 traffic regarding the routing forms, Hubbard did predict someday we do our paperwork on a flat screen. All right. Like today's iPad, at least. We were stumped in the 1983 on this. Yeah.
Oh.
Now I can see where that would be difficult. So maybe he had a little bit of perception about it, but not enough. Not enough. When you look at how much havoc the internet has caused Scientology, he should have known better. He should have done more.
Right.
Love the analogy of the Truman Show. Thank you. That's from Sunrise J. Learn Daily. Thank you. Yep, learn daily. All right, and Sieglin says, when computers became a thing, it went
Oh.
away.
Hubbard wrote about computers running interplanetary systems as if he knew. No mention of at all of an internet.
Right,
Interplanetary systems. Okay.
right,
Uh,
right.
I do remember reading early computer magazines back in the early '80s, and they did talk about they're going to be getting, paperwork will eventually, as the memory of computers gets greater and the ability to bring up files really quick on a computer, that it would get rid of a lot of paperwork. That they did. I do remember
Right.
hearing talking about that. So
But that was before,
the internet.
Hubbard was before that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in '82 he was. You mentioned in '82 that he was talking about everything
Oh,
will be done on a flat screen. But there was kind of rumblings in the early '80s. Modems were a thing, so there wasn't an internet, but you can transfer files over modems back in the early '80s, even though there wasn't. And there's bulletin boards back then, so there wasn't like the internet we know it, but there was communication over lines. So
right.
I think he might have picked up on that. And I mean, he did introduce computer systems, and people were keeping things on files in Hubbard's time. So it was. So I don't think it was as far fetched, uh, for him to think. I don't think he was thinking too The flat screen part is kind of interesting, but the fact that we'd be doing paperwork on computers, that they were already talking about that in the early 80s.
Right.
And I have my old 1980s and late 70s computers still, because I just hold on to shit like that.
All right, so this is from Professor Kakan again. He says men in fedora hats, cars and trains like the 60s, yet cartoons on the internet show Xenu as a tall, caped, satanic-like character. I suspect the artists just didn't read OT3 themselves. Well, that's probably true. And also Hubbard, when he used to make, if they have access to any of his own films, because I remember being at Asho on Temple Street, and we were watching L. Ron Hubbard's film that he made, some tech film, and he was in a giant cape on a stool, and it said director on the back of the cape. It was a black cape. And I remember he looked like such a nerd. And I thought, dear God, please don't let my parents come in here. Because if they would have seen him, they would have said, all right, you out.
Wow. And that's really, to put Xenu as a satanic character is really disparaging to Xenu. I'm kind of cool with Xenu. So, no, I don't know. Just saying. Sorry.
I know. Okay, so we did the fedora hats. So now what's this one?
This is days you had to wait.
Not a streamer, bro. Oh yeah, I like this one.
Oh yeah, and that kind of made it rough. Now, well, the closest.
Let me just read it first. Anonymous days, you had to wait till people got home from the pickets, right, and share their experiences in forums, versus now it's true, you can see it happens live stream. Did this time delay make C of S more able to spin stories?
Well, I will. I want to grab that. Okay, so the problem back then, especially if you're picketing with a small amount of people, was you had to get stuff on the internet quickly. If you wanted a reaction, like we got in a tough spot where they got physical with us, right? So we ran, there's someone had an apartment that was close by Scientology. We ran over there and we quickly edited a video together. And then that evening we had about 30 protesters surrounding the HGB. But now with the live streaming, if anything goes down, you can have people, it's happening in real time. People could be driving around and show up really quick. And I think the threat that there could be a lot of protesters show up in a really quick order does add to the safety of the picketing nowadays. Like if anything were to happen, God forbid, happen to us picketing, you always feel like there's a whole army out there watching us. There's eyes on us. We're not alone out there picketing.
Right.
And then, you get Laura with her big voice out there, and it's like, hey, look what you pulled in over here. How about this? You like this? If they did anything dirty now, it definitely pulled people in quicker. It does make things a little more safer. But that back then there was a big delay in creating a reaction. You had to put a video out and stick it out there, and a few hours could have went by.
Yeah, big delay. All right, so Chuck, this is interesting. He said Duke of Chang was the Incom system they are still working on. Do you know that system, Drew?
Well, I've heard. Well, Chuck has described it, but the Duke of
Chug, Duke of Chug.
Yeah, with the Chug devices. Yeah, well, that's pretty sad that they're stuck in some old days.
Yeah, I remember they had on that corner. I've showed you that building that's across from AO, and that was the top secret internet thing, and none of us could know about it, but that's where it was.
None of us would know about it, but yet everybody knows about it.
No, they didn't back then. They
Oh,
didn't
okay.
back then at all.
Okay.
No,
Okay. We know about now.
they know about it now. All right. This is from Chuck. I studied all of the Hubbard, Duke of Chug, and Church computerization orders. It totaled 3 binders. Wow. Well, good. You should make some videos about that if you haven't, Chuck. That sounds like it'd be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, especially for the record, just
Yeah, just for the record. And Simon Boulevard official comment, when I was the stats officer in 1971, I got tired of collecting stats by paper and gathering by hand. I wanted computers, too damn expensive. You want to hear a funny story about that? This will be a person who, if you collected statistics, I went to ethics one day in the 90s, and I said to the ethics guy, I said, what do you do with all these? Because someone was writing knowledge reports about me all the time. And I said, what do you do with all these knowledge reports? And he said, do you really want to know? And I said, I really want to know.
Oh yeah, this one I remember. Go ahead. Sorry.
And he goes, open that door. And it was just a door in his office. And I opened it up, and I'm not kidding. It wasn't like just piles of papers on top of each other. It was floor to ceiling papers just thrown in there. Just unbelievable.
Pitch it in there. There you go. Awesome.
Very weird when you think about it. When you think about how, ethics will handle it. No, they're not going to handle it. They're not handling anything. Go look in that room and see what they're handling. All right. When I was that's the one that we already had. Okay.
Oh, computers are insanely expensive. Even the early '80s. If you own a really good computer in the early '80s, it could be thousands of dollars. Tons, and
yeah, that's when I bought mine. I was selling jewelry around LA, and I thought, I've got to get a computer, not because I wanted to really learn it, but every office I went into would be 2 women going, all right, you push that tab and I'll push this one. Do you know what I mean? It was like you could tell it was a whole new language that these people were learning. And I came home and said to Harold, we've got to get a computer. We've got to learn this. And he said, it won't last long. And so I went down to IBM. I went in with my $2,000 in cash, and they said, what do you want? And I said, I want to buy a computer. And they said, why? And I said, it doesn't matter. I mean, I was in sales, so I knew, why are you questioning me about giving you $2,000? Give me so anyway, we worked it out. I got one.
And $2,000 was a lot of money back then. I mean, it was like
a lot.
You could buy a pretty decent, like you're halfway to a decent car, at that.
Yeah.
Point.
Yeah. It's true.
Yeah. And those computers aren't worth. They all got recycled.
Yeah. It didn't work then. They said, what's your name? And I typed it in. They said incorrect information. So I ended up giving it to Debbie. I traded with Debbie Mace for her to give some auditing to my son, which was a nightmare, and I think was the end of him ever even trying Scientology, luckily. And I just forget it. So then I bought an Apple IIgs because they were coming out with the Macintosh and the Apple IIgs. And I said, well, I'm going to teach my son at home. So what do you recommend? And they said, oh, get the Apple IIgs. We're coming out with all this educational software. And in his book, Steve Jobs says, oh, yeah, we just pitched it out. We didn't do anything with it.
Right.
And I was like, damn it. It really made me mad. All right, so now here's a comment. Ooh, it went away. Question. Where does an ethics officer gets sent when they get in trouble? Good question.
To another ethics officer? I don't know.
Yeah, to another ethics officer or a higher executive who's higher trained in ethics.
Mm.
Yeah. But that's a good question. So there you go. So thank you, Drew, for coming on
Yeah.
and telling us all these stories. It's really good. I love your background too. It's really
Wait,
cool.
I gotta show him this. Wait, here. Take this. Pull the camera off here. Come on. Oh, you gotta open it. Okay. How violent they were back in the day. Look at the tape on this thing. This thing's in battle, you know.
Oh yeah.
The door's loose on it. I mean, this got smashed on the top by you know. I luckily had a neck strap, so it never smashed on the ground. But
Wow.
you know, and then holding this thing. I mean, this thing weighs. You know, it's got a VCR built into this thing. Holding
Yeah,
this for
they're
several
heavy.
hours. Yeah, you're gonna
Yeah.
have sore arms. But that was the fun. You know, back in then you know just you know. I guess they're more. I mean, they're always litigious. I mean, we saw that with the encampment. They all got restraining orders or whatnot. A lot of they still got teeth. You know, they still they're not toothless, but they definitely. And that was good. The anonymous pickets because it kept the Scientology so busy that they didn't have time to mess with the people writing books.
No.
And just the sheer volume of books that came out after Anonymous, like the pre-Anonymous, and how freaked out when Anonymous pickets did happen, that the mainstream media didn't want to write about it because they didn't want to get
Right.
sued. They're so afraid
Right.
from the Time magazine thing. I remember the first magazine to write about the Anonymous pickets, even though these huge pickets, was Maxim magazine. Like they didn't get the memo not to write anything about Scientology, but it did people found out how how effective Anonymous was just keeping them busy, with them chasing down Anonymous and having these huge worldwide pickets happen on a monthly basis, where they had basically shut down operations once a month to deal with this. Did keep them busy and did tie up a lot of their resources. And I'm glad that not because of the figures, but for people that should have always been able to speak out, finally got a chance to write books and speak out, and
Right.
and that makes me really happy that the product of Anonymous, of being able to, I got a whole bookshelf full of books that came out after 2008.
Yeah.
Which what were there, like
Yeah.
4 books before that? There wasn't that
3.
many books. 3.
3.
Sorry, 3. Yeah, Piece of Blue Sky,
Madman or Messiah, and Battlefield Earth. Or no. There's a Piece of Blue Sky, Messiah or Madman, and L. Ron Hubbard. Well, L. Ron Hubbard, Messiah or Madman. And what's the other one that's just about Hubbard that was written by the guy that was never in Scientology?
Was it Counterfeit?
No, that was all after. Chuck, you'll know it. Chuck, what is it? It's a Piece of Blue Sky, Battlefield Earth, and Barefaced Messiah. That was it.
Barefaced Messiah. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that Barefaced Messiah is written by Russell Miller, who was never in Scientology and is an author. And I've heard many, many great things about people who really love that book.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and this is JB808. Question: speaking of Anonymous, do either of you keep in touch with any of the original Anonymous protesters? I've had a few of them send me things. That's about it. And they did tell me some years ago, if you ever have any real trouble, we'll be back. I was happy to hear that. But I think they're busy with other stuff, just to really answer that.
I still keep in touch with Daniel from time to time. So, Hombre. And,
right.
Yeah, he's, yeah.
Yeah, but that Chuck, the Inside Scientology was way later. Drew and I are talking about the original there were 3 books that nobody could read, and those are the ones that I just named. There
Right.
were tons of them that came out after Anonymous showed up. There were tons of them, but those were all after Anonymous. What is this? The Road to Total Freedom. Oh yeah, that's right. And there's also Paulette Cooper's book. She had a little book that she wrote, and they went nuts on that. That was way before any of these books. She wrote just a little paperback book.
Oh yeah, Scandalous Scientology.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And then the famous Time magazine article.
Right, but that's not a book.
No,
But
I understand.
yeah,
But
it should be a book. They should
man,
make it into
they tied Time magazine up with a lot of litigation over that little
Yeah.
and that scared a lot of news media because they're into making money, and if they're going to be tied up in massive litigation just because they comment on religion, guess what? They're not. That chilled, free speech. And I guess you see that now with chilled, free speech being chilled with our current president going after the news media
Yeah.
and stuff, which is just it's freedoms. If you don't fight for them, you lose them. That's the way it is.
Okay, now this one I've never heard of, The Road to Total Freedom. I think I've heard that, but I've never seen it. 1976, Chuck said. That's good. And then Sunrise Joy Learn Daily said, I thought Janet Reitman wrote Inside Scientology. I know it was Janet. I think it was Janet Reitman. And then Chuck says, no, Reitman's book was also named Inside Scientology. Oh, that's what it is. There's also what happened? There's also the Kaufman book of 1990s, same name. He put the OT3 stuff in it, the earlier Inside Scientology. Wow. Does anyone think that Miscavige and the Church of Scientology will ever be held to account for? Oh, I do. I think at some point, I don't think it's going to be tomorrow, but I think it's going to happen. I've said it to him for years. Tick tock, tick tock. Time is on our side. And what I mean by that is we can say the truth no matter what it is. I mean, I'm willing to talk to anyone, anytime, anywhere. I'm sure most of you feel the same way. I know you do, Drew.
Yes.
It's like, okay, bring it on. But they can't. They absolutely cannot. And so that's why time is on our side, because we can tell the truth. They can't. And that alone is going to kill them. That's what I think. And it has. It pretty much has. I mean, the orgs are empty. There's 3 people in each org. I mean, we drove from the top of state of California all the way down to San Diego, and every org had like 3 people in it, if that.
Yeah, it's wild that. I mean, I guess it's only because they have wealthy donors that it keeps going. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how they keep the lights on. It's just beyond me.
I know. Sieglin says, I thought Battlefield Earth was a great read. Please don't hate me. No, my husband loved it too. He loved the read. We both agreed the movie was awful, but I didn't read the book, but he really liked it. So I understand you liking it. And Chuck says, also there are 2 other books in the early 70s, one by a Danish guy in English. Okay.
Oh.
I don't know.
Chuck the historian here. That's cool. I had no
What
idea.
does he have?
There's a historian.
Yeah. Roy Wallace book is an academic, hard to read, but gives good 1950s history of the Roy Wallace, The Road to Total Freedom book in 1976. Good. That's from Chuck. And here's another one from Chuck. Scientology, the now religion. Interesting. I've never heard of it. And Donna Davy, a few weeks ago, YouTube was putting up videos about Sciento from a guy named, I think, Ian. What does it say? Ian Walton? I've
Okay.
never heard of him. Have you or Drew? I have not either.
No.
Scientology, the New Religion, 1970. Okay. No, I haven't heard of him. I'm sorry. But you could, Google his name. You'll find out. Yes, I have boxes of most of these books still. I know, me too. One
Awesome.
of my favorite things about books, when I first left, I was an awful speller. I'm still not great, but I'm better. But this one guy took it on to help me correct anything that I posted. He'd say, it's this, it's not that. And so at the end of all my posts, I would say, Tori Magoo, bail while you still can, meaning get out while you can, right? And I would write it BALE because I thought BAIL, I would just think of bail bonds people, right? And so the guy kept correcting me on it that it was BAIL and I'd write BALE. So finally he sent me Barefaced Messiah and he had a drawing inside of it. It had a picture of an airplane with a guy jumping out of the airplane. And he would BAIL. And then he had a guy with a pitchfork and a bale of hay, and he said BALE. And that handled it for me. It really helped. It really did.
Awesome.
I didn't get it before that. I
Hey, you
had
got a
that
free,
picture of a bail bondsman. Huh?
and you got a free book out of it.
Well, I had a bunch of those books. People gave me a bunch of those books.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, I have boxes. Yeah, that's what.
I was
Somebody
add
gave
that
me
to
the
my other
whole.
books.
Huh?
Just add that book to the other 2 copies of books you had.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I have more than 2.
Okay, I got more than 2.
We said Paulette Cooper's book, Chuck, because he said don't forget it. We didn't forget it. You
Scandalous.
can't forget Paulette Cooper.
No,
That's one that'll go down in history forever.
that was really
And
cool.
and now Tony and Paulette's book also. Those are later books. I mean, there's a lot of later great books that came out after Anonymous. The Secret of Scientology by Paulette is on the internet. Okay, good.
I
It's
thought
a
that,
great book and stands the test of time. Good.
are you
Thank
sure
you.
it's not the scandalous Scientology? Scandal.
I think it is the scandal of Scientology, but
Oh,
I'm not. I have it. She gave me a copy of it.
right. It was a free read on the internet for a long time. You were able to read it for
Yeah.
free. I read it for free, and it was interesting. Some of the earlier abuses that occurred that she documented
Right.
in the book. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, it's been almost an hour and a half, and I usually try to keep it at an hour. So, does anyone have anything else that they want to ask Drew? The man about town.
Hmm.
Okay, Marjorie Wakefield's book. Oh, okay. I don't remember the name of that. Okay.
I got a question. Are we gonna pick it Friday? Want to pick it?
I think so.
Okay, let me know. I'm down.
Yeah. Good.
Sweet.
Yeah, I think so. I just have to check my calendar, but I know some good things are coming up.
Sweet.
All right, Drew, please say Scientology is evil out loud.
Scientology is evil. Evil cult.
Why does he want you to do that?
I said that in my videos a lot.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I did. Scientology is evil.
You cornball.
Yeah. That's the closest I would get to yelling, by the way. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But that was it. That was all I did.
Again, JB808 says, thank you again for being with Tori every week, Drew. It definitely helps. And, we've become really good friends. We've had a lot of fun together.
Yeah. Yeah, it's always a fun hangout. Always
I know.
Yeah, it's always good stuff.
So Seagan says, no further questions, but thanks for being there, Drew. Very enjoyable. All right. And it's been enjoyable having you guys here. Thank you for asking the questions that you did. And
Awesome.
Chuck, thank you for all the information. Drew says this really out loud in his videos. Yeah. It's his trademark. Okay. All right.
All right. I'll have to
I
keep up
missed
the
that.
tradition.
All right. Okay, good. Well, thank you, Drew. And thank you,
Thank you, Tori.
Kelly, for being on here, being our moderator. And thank you, everyone who's come here tonight. I really appreciate it. And Drew, most of all, thank you for coming on. It was fun, huh?
Oh yeah, that was a blast. I had enjoyed myself. Thank you.
Good.
Always a good time.
All right, good. Well, is there anything else you want to say?
No, that's about it. I don't know. Look forward to picketing again.
Okay. We
Definitely
will.
move forward picketing. Yeah.
We will.
Oh,
All right. Peace out.
See you later.
All right. See you later, Gator. I'm going to end the stream now. So good night.
Good night.
Good night.